in tonight. I got a feeling that the cards just ain't right. I'm so salty, must not give in to rage. And I'm wondering what those rollers will say. Scars still left in me, the cheaters to the right. Here I am, gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight.
I used to have a website with a friend of mine when we were sort of traveling the world, and it was called Fighting Dreamers, which is like a Naruto reference. And we would put like blog posts and pictures and all this type of stuff up there. And then I forgot to pay like the hosting fee, and they deleted the whole website.
Oh, what?
Like, yeah, exactly.
That is so bad.
It is. It's pretty terrible. So now if you go into like, have you ever gone into like the Wayback Machine and like searched for your own name and stuff like that?
Nah.
Because I thought maybe the Wayback Machine would have my website, but when I went and searched for it, it had like this really shitty GeoCities website that I had made like when I was 12 years old. You know,
Too far.
too far back. Yeah.
No, I feel you.
Fun times.
Stupid 90s.
So, you've been playing any LFR, man?
Little bits. I've been very, very busy with all of the rest of life. So I've done a little bit of Dragon, where it's basically it's sort of a Dragon Dishonor deck with Daisho, and I run
Dueling Dishonor. Yeah.
Yes.
I need you to play me for my Gen Con practice with that deck.
Maybe
around here.
This will not be a standard experience, but like it won't be the Dragon Dueling Dishonor. You'll see the rest. It'll be way worse than that. But
well, maybe near enough is good enough.
Yeah, true. I mean, really, if you got a whole bunch of jewels and you've got fucking Daisho, then that's basically it. It's a one trick thing.
Fair enough.
I just double danger the whole thing by chucking 3 watch commanders. So
so you get +1 from the watch commander, and he loses 2 honor from whenever he plays a card.
Yeah, well, really, what I try to do is fish for the watch commanders early, because I've got a lot of fish in there. So I've got that Agasha Shunsen that lets you dump a ring and just filter through your whole deck for an attachment that costs 1 less for the rings you dump. And you can just grab your watch commanders, put them out first, right? And just like let your opponent whittle away their own honor until it's too dangerous. Then you start the dueling with the Daisho instead of the vague game plan. So
yeah, the only dragon deck that I've seen played around here is it's using the new 4-cost attachment that attaches to a ring. I
haven't had a chance to run that yet, but I really like it.
Yeah, it looked interesting, right? So the deck was just far out crazy weirdness, right? So I was using that monk that your opponent got to choose the ring that you're attacking on.
Yep.
And so of course, in the middle of the game there were these rings that had, 6, 7 fate on them.
Yep.
And then of course there was the thing that said when if this character's ready, your opponent can't take fate off the rings. So there's that. And then he would play like Written in the Stars, and he would put fate on all of the rings after he had attached these things. So in the middle of the turn, he was like, "Oh, I'll discard, I'll void that person, I'll Ring of Earth this person, and I'll dishonor that person."
Yep, that's fantastic.
Very interesting stuff.
All over it. I like it.
And you know that card, the one that your opponent can't take fate off the rings. You know it costs like 2. It's actually a pretty. If it sticks around for a while, it's actually a pretty good economy kind of card, because you're the only one hoovering up fate on rings.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with that's the Stone of Sorrows. So it's not it doesn't only deny your opponent fate, because any fate your opponent's not collecting off rings, you're probably attacking and taking back yourself. So exactly. That looks really good. I really like that kind of deck when you chuck in Jurigen's Curse in there as well for the Void roll. So you get like the Phoenix card that lets you put the extra fate phase. So you double up.
Yeah, I think that happens. Yeah, I think that was in there. Yeah.
So I've in the deck I was just telling you about, actually, my dragon, I run the new monk. I can't remember his exact name, but he's the 3-coster with 2 glory, 2/2. but he lets you move a fate from one ring to another and gain honor. So I use it for the same reason. Like, if I'm about to attack and there's 2 rings with fate, I just bundle all that fate up on the one ring that I want, and then attack and just gain an honor in the process. So, there. I think that. Did
you come to that Australian CanCon tournament?
Nah, I haven't been to anything outside of my little bubble.
This is, when I went to that one with a bunch of the Melbourne guys, and that was the first time that I had started using the Jade Masterpiece. I love that card.
I rate that card.
So good.
Yeah, it is not as bad as I used to think it was. The thing is, like, because you can play it now, like, during any phase, move the fate, and it's sort of paid for itself already. You know what I mean? Like, you drop it, use it, and you've probably collected another fate if you are taking the right ring, and that fate is probably a fate your opponent's not going to get.
And you can kind of control it against most decks as well, because you can decide to pass one of your conflicts or to defend a conflict instead of attacking.
Yeah.
And then on the second turn, on the next turn, assuming that your opponent has maxed out their conflict opportunities, there's still 2 rings with fate on them. So now you're like, oh, just masterpiece one to the other and then take both.
Yep, absolutely. I really...
Good card.
Yeah, I think... People have always shit on that dragon, their gimmick where they shuffle fate around rings, but I think it's actually, I think it's a bit undervalued. I just don't think it's been given a good go. I think there's some game there, to be honest.
I feel the same way about that as I feel about Phoenix ring manipulation, like Know the World, and Way of the Phoenix and things like that.
Yeah, so
which is that I feel like there is play, but we haven't discovered it.
Yeah.
But let's face it, if we haven't discovered it, maybe it's because there's no play there.
True that. Well, I think it's just super complex, and like, if the games ran like twice the length they do now, like if the average game was 7 or 8 turns, I think those sort of decks would get a lot more play because they've got all this build-up time. But as it stands, the game's already really long. And, like, you could never do that. So I think that's maybe why. I get the feeling that, like, they didn't... Maybe when they were making the game, they didn't expect the turns to drag on as much as they do. And probably didn't expect the whole game to finish in as little turns as it does. Most games close out, turn 3, maybe turn 4.
3 or 4 is definitely like your average. If you're fast, you're doing it on turn 2, and then if you're crab, you're out at turn 7.
Yeah.
So with your opponents as well.
But there's so much passing, you don't have to do that. So the dragon deck you're talking about though, with the heretic monk that lets everyone attack. I like that for future honor decks and any passive dragon deck where you're just passing all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, so if you're passing right, then the fact that your opponent chooses your attacking ring doesn't matter to you because you're not taking one anyway. So you're just constantly hamming your opponent into, I don't know, what's a shit ring? Like water, if they're attacking first, for example. Stuff like that.
Yeah, depends on the stage of the game, right?
Yeah, that's it. But, yeah.
Yeah. I've been playing a bit. I've been playing, obviously Gen Con's coming up, right? So I've been trying to get in shape for that. Not only get in shape, but also practice.
Yeah.
So some interesting cards actually have kind of jumped out at me during that practice. So maybe if I sort of shoot some at you, you can tell me what your thoughts are and how effective they are.
Yeah, okay.
Bacha. Adorned Bacha? Is that what it is?
The unicorn one?
Yeah. The +3, move a guy in, bow one of your opponent's guys.
Yeah, I mean that's super good. And the thing is, I think that's a super good 2-cost attachment that is worth it, even with the risk. You know what I mean? Like it's got a fat block of stats. Isn't it like +3/+1 or something, or +2/+1?
No, it's just +3 mil.
Yeah, so that action is super good. Like it's
not. Yeah. So it's a little bit like Jade Tetsubo, right? So in some situations, Jade Tetsubo comes down, and then you get one action before they use the Tetsubo to like wreck one of your guys.
Yep.
So it's like, do something. This is like that. This comes down onto one of the characters that's not in the conflict, by the way. So forget hand to hand, or some of those other attachment controlly ones like Tea House.
Yep.
And just be like, yeah, you gotta answer it. Otherwise, in I come and Bow Diogo gets.
Nah, it's good. The fact that it does anyone, I think, is really, really solid as well. I dig it. I like that card. I don't think it's even comparable to like Jade Tetsubo, because like Jade Tetsubo's action is fine, but it's not as good as that. It's not. No, it's not a win you. It's not win you the conflict. It's knock.
Well, the central. Yeah, you're right. It's not like it's a delay. It's a delayed tax, I guess, if you like.
Yeah, but like your opponent gets that fate back. And your opponent gets that fate back too, though. Like they can just put it on something else. It certainly just delays the pain, and sometimes that's all you need. And +3 military is not awful.
All right. Speaking of Tea House, what do you reckon? How effective is Tea House?
I think Tea House is the duck's nuts.
Yep, I think you're right. I've played against Tea House a couple of times in the past week or so, and it's like, and you know what? Like Cloud, aside from a few other attachments, right? Cloud is mostly the attachment that I play on other people's characters.
Yep.
It's the most effective attachment that I play, and so the Crane are just like, oh, you've clouded my Uji or something. All right, well I'll just go ahead and defend this guy. Tea House your cloud away, and now you can't cloud me again.
Yeah.
What's that? I'll buy my army for one cheaper.
Yep. Yeah, the fact that they can't replay it is, I think, the key. I think that's the main bit that makes a massive difference. But
this Tea House. And do you know what else? Actually, the artwork on the Tea House and the artwork on the dojo, Kikita Dojo.
Yep.
For some reason in my mind, I just confuse those two. So every time I look at the Tea House, I go, "Oh, it's Kikita Dojo," and it's not. It's the Tea House.
Nah, it's I like it. As I said, I really want to do a bit of mark of shame shenanigans with that card as well. I think it'd be super dangerous. But again, that's a long game thing. You need plenty of fate, plenty of turns to roll that around. But I still really enjoy it. I think it's good. +1 from me.
I was gonna do one more. What about Moment of Perfect Beauty? That's the one that like your opponent gets one extra action and then that's it.
I'm conflicted about that card, because like your opponent gets that action, right? Which is good. Like they can try to do something about it, but I don't think the card's as busted as people think it is. Like I think it's like okay. Like I'm not sure I'd fit it in many decks of mine without a very specific theme. Like I'm not sure I could play it unless I was playing like a lion deck where you don't really want anyone playing cards because yours are bad. Like no, really, like you play neutral Akoto Toturi, right? Where you just shut down the conflict, or you could run that card, like the Moment of Perfect Beauty, or
if only you could play it out of Lion. Like you can't because it's got no influence cost.
But like cards like decks like that, I think is what you'd be after. Like maybe Crane decks where you're bidding 1 the whole time, so your opponent's going to get this massive card advantage, and it might be enough to stall a break for another turn. But at the same time, if your opponent's got an answer, like if they've got a card in their hand that's going to win them the conflict definitively, then you're done, right? You can't. There's no room to fight anymore. If they win the conflict after that, you're finished. So, I mean, you back it up with events, with event cancel. So like Voice of Honor and stuff. So,
I was just thinking about Akoto Totori. What does he say? He's just like straight up stop, right? Like stop right now.
No, I believe Akoto Totori neutral is you discard the favor and neither player can play cards anymore.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe
right. Each player cannot play cards
yeah
from his or her hand until the end of the conflict. Okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
So you can do bits and pieces, but not that much. But it shuts down the hand, which is the main thing. So that one does more again. Like if you've got really minimal stuff, I think I could see that comboing okay with Disdainful Remark. Like if your opponent's got a massive hand, you drop a Disdainful, you get a massive Province Strength, right? And then you've played that one card, you're probably going to pass a few times in a row, so your opponent has to play quite a number of actions to catch up. If you've just added 10 or 12 Province Strength, right? Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
So, and then you can play Perfect Beauty to follow up, and if they can't make it there, they're probably just going to bounce.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Played against some new and interesting cards. Oh, wait. Conflict Tadaka.
I've not played against it. I like it. I think it's a good effect. I don't understand why everyone shat on it so much when it was spoiled ages back. I remember everyone poo-pooing it, but it was even then a fucking good card. Like even once a turn, if you just eat a card in your discard, your Dynasty discard, and randomly discard a card from your opponent's hand, like that's pretty good, right? Like discard.
It's really good. Like it's super good. I'm with you, right? Like when I saw it, I thought the first thing I thought was, this is great because I can still play a good card, and I can make my restricted card something else.
Yeah.
So I could play like a charge bird deck with Conflict Tadaka, and I thought that would be really good. But yeah, Phoenix Chat. I don't understand Phoenix Chat at the moment. I've been listening to it the past couple of days, and it's just really confusing, right? Like some people like it, some people hate it, some people are trying to make that disguise thing really work for them, like economically, and it's such a confusing chat right now. Listen to this one. It's worth disguising if you're confident you are ending the game that turn. In that scenario, it's a pure discount. You don't lose since you don't lose anything.
Hey?
Yeah, see, I don't understand.
That doesn't sound like people understand disguise. And
I've read up from there and sort of down from there, and I don't really understand some of the commentary. But I agree with you. I think it's a really good card. Plus, we've kind of already figured out the most optimal, smoothest, most sickening line of play with it anyway. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah. Give me the goss.
All right. So you play Shiba Sophist with 2 Fates.
Is that that's the new Bushi guy?
Yeah, that's the new Bushi,
Yep.
the one that tutors for elemental stuff.
Yep.
And then you attack the Ring of Water with Suki. So that when the Ring of Water gets claimed, you can honor a scholar. So you honor the Shiba Sophist. Then you attack with the Shiba Sophist into a Ring of Earth, and then you tutor the top 5 decks for the Tadaka. Then you attach the Tadaka by discarding the Shiba Sophist into the discard pile. Then you discard the Shiba Sophist using Tadaka's ability to take 1 card from your opponent's hand, which just happens to be Policy Debate.
You just zero in on that policy debate.
Yeah, that's the perfect candidate of policy.
That's how it works. Flawless plan.
Yeah, and then you've got that's right. It works 100% of the time. Does not need any luck or any setup at all. And at the end of all that, you've got a Tadaka with 2 Fate on him who is honored. There you go.
So, okay, I feel like Phoenix are maybe desperately trying to put their own. Sounds like they're scrambling to get their own horrible combo together, like Crab have at the moment, right? Like they just want their own ridiculous arcane machine to plug together and do ridiculous things. But no.
To be fair, not all Phoenix share this particular they don't all recognize the elegance and the beauty of this particular line of play. Possibly just one. Possibly while high.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too much. Oh, don't get me wrong, random. But all that aside, disguise is good because you can attack with your. What does he disguise as actually? What's his disguise criteria? Is it like?
I think it's Shigenja.
Just some Shigenja, yeah. So like you can attack with any old thing, like some Shiba fucking... What's her name? Shiro? No. The one that honors scholars.
Suki. It's got to be non-unique. So Suki's unique, so you
okay.
can't do that one. But you could do... I mean, there's a ton. You've got tons of them. You could do... I'm going to forget them all.
Doesn't matter. Any of them. It doesn't matter what.
Any of them.
Just
your
pick
deck
one.
is full of them. You don't need me to tell you what they are. Just look through your deck.
Yeah.
There they are.
Yeah. You pick a Phoenix card, because you're the ones that get player shugs, and you just drop him on the table at a 3-point discount, which means you've probably got more fate than you would normally have had to chuck him on there. And the fact that you can attack, crush a bunch of stuff, or, at least get some value out of your person on attack or defense, then drop him in and straighten again is super good.
Agreed.
Like that straighten effect, or coming into play straighten rather, and then transfer all the stuff over. I think that's super valid. I really think that effect on its own has got legs. I don't know.
I've actually had this played against me a couple of times, and I got to say, the stats, the ability, like the discard a card from your opponent's hand it's really good. You don't think of it as being good, but it's and the fact that it's random, like you randomly look at a card and then maybe discard it. You could randomly look at more than one card, and then you get to choose, and then it's almost better.
It's almost policy debate territory.
Well, it's strictly better now that I think about it. And it's not like you're going to get your guys back unless you're playing Chargebird, right? Or unless you, for some reason, you're playing the new Mado whatever province.
Gateway Tomato.
Yeah.
Gateway
Tomato.
Gateway Tomato. Yeah. I think it's just super good. It doesn't. There's no other way to cut it. It's a good card. Disguise is good. Random discard is good. What else? What more do you want? It's got a big fat stack block. He can't potato himself from Dishonor. He's got the right keywords for the clan. And
the potato thing has always been the best thing about Tadaka. Gotta say
it.
Really, that's the best thing. Or
well,
is that the best thing?
Okay.
Tell us all about what Tadaka's best quality is, Merlin.
Well, think about Sukune, right?
Yeah.
If Sukune was 2 glory, I think she would have seen a lot more play from the get-go, right? But the fact that she's 4 glory really, really just put her into the coaster category for a long time.
What? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, Sukune.
Unless you could cheat her, there's no way.
Her stats don't matter because she's not meant to do anything. You bring her out, you put her on the table, she sits around, gains while you pass every turn, and she just resolves 2 rings for you, and then at the end of the turn she gets you the favor. That's her whole job. She is.
I get that, right? But when that was the way to play that card, that deck was still not, the top tier deck that Phoenix had.
Yeah, I get you.
And I think it really only came into 4 when Backhanded Compliment actually started being a playable card out of Phoenix. When you could actually have a Dishonor style deck that really was able to but able to execute that last couple of honor. Because up until that point, it was all about, defending and kind of hoping that your opponent would fall into a situation where they would lose their last honor.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that disappoints me consistently about the game is how hard it is to close out.
Oh yeah.
Honor or dishonor. When you have to fight pretty hard just to get close, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have very specific cards to be able to close out properly. And that's just, it's not as fun. I mean, it's already super high risk because honor or dishonor, if that's your key condition to victory, then you're pretty well pigeonholed. As soon as your opponent's onto that, they're bidding 1 for the whole game, and you're over a barrel.
Yeah, bidding 1 plays into your strategy though, right? Like at some point as a dishonor deck, you want them to be bidding 1, right? Because you can't have them drawing into answers.
Yeah. I just I don't know. I think you kind of. I mean, there aren't really answers for it either. Like if there were answers to dishonor that were really hard, then honor decks would be more effective. You catch my meaning? Like I suppose you've got.
I did play
Yeah.
I did play for a little while the unicorn, exploding unicorns. I think I told you about it, right?
Yeah, I think
took it to a
that's good.
tournament, and round one played against a Dishonor player, and it was just like in the old game. It was like, well, this game is going to go forever. None of us are going to win before the time limit.
Yep, but that's what I mean. I think like in I think Old 5 I had it right with how you could play any kind of deck, and any deck that was reasonably successful competitively was able to switch in some way. Like, if you were playing against a deck that you just could not smash from a military perspective, or they had just way better stuff than you in that regard, you needed to be able to flick over if you had a bad flop. Like, but doing that was not difficult. Like, dragging someone... There were so many cards that just said, play this card, gain honor. Like, they were very straightforward. Whereas these days, you've got to stand on one leg, spend 2 fate, flip a coin. You know.
Yeah. I played those gain 2 honor cards to great effect.
Yeah.
In 2015.
Like, yeah, but there was... I mean, I'm not saying it was... I mean, it's maybe... Not maybe. It is definitely more boring card design. Like, bow, gain 2 honor, or whatever. But,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that coming out in this game.
Well, it's not. It's not going to. As I said, everything there is not going to be any play card gain honor stuff. Like, everything in this game has at least 2 or 3 conditions on it, so everything's going to be more complicated than that. Which is not terrible. Like, I think that's good. I like that everything needs a little bit of setup. Like, whether it's be in the conflict or have a courtier, or you know, and only target participating opponents, all that kind of stuff. It all adds up. I'd be curious to learn how they balance their cards, actually. Like, if they have like an equation they put in place to what value each effect has, for example, like what each criteria, like if you can only target opponents' participating characters, like what is that worth as far as a bump is concerned?
Well, I've got good news for you then, because this podcast has been brought to you by the Great Courses Plus. If you would like to learn how great card games are designed, I'm just kidding.
Funny you should mention that.
Yeah, it's like segue, but not really segue. No.
Speaking of just kidding, the Jokers. We're not sponsored by anybody. Nobody on Earth has standards that low. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. But yeah,
I think there are websites you can go to calculate like what your ad revenue would be if you like decided to sort of go that route.
One of their answers just lol.
Yeah, I think Ben went and did that once, and it like crashed.
It just died. 0 is not a number.
That's right. You can't divide by 0.
Cannot divide by 0. That's quite fantastic.
So let's move on a little bit.
All right.
Fun is talking about like all the new cards is. The new cards are only good if they get played. Where are they going to get played? Gen Con. So
how many of them are going to get played at Gen Con?
Well, all of them, obviously.
Every single one.
All of the new cards are going to, except for the ones that haven't been released yet. Because like Gen Con, Pack 2 is legal. So I don't know where I'm going to get it from, but it's legal.
What's the actual date for Gen Con?
August 1st, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe
so the
30th. I think it's 1st actually.
Oh, because it takes you a bit to get the packs, doesn't it?
Yeah. So so here's the thing, right? I suck at booking flights, because I've booked a flight out of Hong Kong into LA. I'm flying on Tuesday morning, which is like just a little bit past midnight, and it's arriving in LA Monday night, because there's this international dateline thing, and when I cross it, I travel into the past, and then I land in LA, and then I've got 12 freaking hours in LA to kill before I get on my adjoining flight to go to Indy.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be stuck in any particular place in the world for 12 hours, LA is probably one of the better places. Like to
is
kick
it not
around
a wretched hive of scum and villainy? That's what I'd heard.
Well, yeah, but is that not what makes it so fun?
Touche. I see your point.
Like, who amongst us is not into a little bit of wretched scum and villainy? I mean, That's what it's about, in my opinion. I think if you're going to go to LA, you may as well just sit down,
Embrace,
talk to the...
So what are you saying? Embrace the taint?
I mean, after you land, talk to the captain of the ship, and by that I mean the pilot of the plane, and just ask him for some of his coke that he's been taking the whole flight. And just sit in the airport, get baked as fuck, and you'll be right. Just do whatever you got to do. Do all of them. Tell you what, Merlin, here's your plan for LA. If anyone offers you anything, say yes. Everything. All of it.
So the rule is don't do anything you wouldn't do.
Yes. I guess. No, I'm a pure soul, I'll have you know. I am.
Oh, I see.
I am untainted.
You are undriven.
Anything.
Pure as driven snow, as they say.
I am.
So I thought what I should do is I should go and find Pack 2 in LA. That'll be my quest. If anybody's listening and lives in LA and knows where I can buy Pack 2, just send me a message on the Hidden City Rollers Facebook page or something, because I fucking need Pack 2 before I get to Gen Con. There's no way I'm standing in line to get Pack 2 from the FFG booth, because when we went a couple of years ago to get to get the game originally, it was like, I think I stood in line for an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's bonkers. I'm not doing it again.
Can I actually, you know what? Just order online from FFG and and get it just posted to your just get it sent to your hotel to wait for you. Just be like, yo, something's coming, I'll pick it up. Or send it
Actually,
I don't know, where else could you send it? Somewhere else. Like one of those one of those things. Do you have any crossovers? Like what route does your flight take?
No, it just goes into LA and then out to Indy, and then the same on the way back.
So you don't... Sorry, I missed the first part of that.
It goes from Hong Kong to Indy. Goes from Hong Kong to LA, and then from LA to Indy. So there's no stops in between.
Oh, you got to go straight over. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking of stopping in Chicago and then driving down, but it didn't seem like... It seemed a bit too late to organise all of
that. Then you've got to drive amongst the crazy Americans who drive on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah. But you know what? Driving here in Hong Kong, I would never drive here in Hong Kong. You think people are assholes on the road in the States? They're murderous on the road over here.
I don't know about murder. I'm not sure, because I haven't been behind the wheel, but I've obviously been in plenty of vehicles in Indonesia, and sweet fucking Jesus,
that's right.
There are no roller coasters that can even hope to compare. But the dude driving, who's just the dudes that drive, they're just so happy. Like, it's just
they're definitely
they're just happy. I think, I'm not sure if it's a modification on their vehicles and they can only move if the horn is being held down. Or,
I used to think exactly
or
that.
Something. I'm not sure, but they just, it's just all the time, honk, 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 the whole drive. And from my experience driving over here in Australia, if you honk the horn, it means someone's about to die.
Mm-hmm.
So exactly. I've got this constant state of anxiety in the car over there, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna fucking get railed.
I thought it was actually literally attached to the accelerator. That's what I thought. Because you're right. Every time they moved, they would honk the horn. I'm like, what are you doing, right? And everybody was doing it. Did you not see all the other cars around you? Because they're just honking their horn, letting you know that they're there.
No, absolutely. I mean, what throws me, though, is that the horns don't do their job if everyone's using them. If all the horns are on, then it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah.
Do you reckon little tuk-tuks in Rokugan, in the Imperial Palace, if there's a tuk-tuk jam in the imperial streets of Otosanuchi, they're just all sort of sitting there ringing their bells or something?
Maybe. I think they probably just have their own peasant parked on the front and he just yells honk honk as they go past. And yeah, that's it. Anyway, we got fucking off topic.
Didn't we though?
We spiraled a bit there. That was a bit rabbit hole.
Okay, so what I was going to ask you actually was Gen Con, right, is coming up. In the Australian Discord League, we saw 50% Crane and 50% Scorpion. What do you
that's
think?
100%. No other clans. Good stuff.
Did I say that? Yes. It was pretty much
50%,
yeah,
50%.
You're actually right. Even the ones that were disguised as other clans, they were clearly not. But what do you think the distribution of clans is going to be at Gen Con?
I think you will see. I expect very healthy Unicorn and Phoenix.
Yes.
I do. I think Unicorn are due for a bit of surprise love, if that makes sense. Like, I think people like No Unicorn are good and can do things, but they're not regarded as being right at the top. But they still were very strong, right? And I think enough people play them.
Sorry, go on.
I think they'll get there. No, I think enough people play them. I think they'll get there. I think they've got legs. They've got plenty of options as well. I mean, it's going to be HMT, but it doesn't have to be. But it will be.
But it will be.
It will.
It might not be, but it will be.
But it will be. No, look, I think HMT can win, is what I'm saying. So it's not super controversial to say. I think it'll do quite well. But Phoenix, I think, will have the biggest showing in the cut. I think Phoenix will be in the top. And I think there'll be plenty of Scorpion as well. Yeah.
Why do you think Phoenix gets into the cut?
I think they're still probably the strongest. I think they're still the strongest. I think Phoenix are still the strongest clan going, despite all the changes recently. I think Scorpion have had a long time to adapt to all their changes, and they have come out now with Keeper of Air. I think they're going to do quite well, and I think Crane may, because Crane have had no pain in quite some time.
Yeah.
And they've only gotten more strength from like Uji and stuff like that. So
yeah,
and they got like
do really well.
Yeah, but you never know. Like, I think Unicorn as well, because the Bushi pack has just been dropped, right, and released, and then the unknown for me is the impact of the role restricted pack, which is pack 2, which is like Earth Becomes Sky. Which is not usable by Phoenix. No. I mean, that card alone could make Lion viable. I mean, as heretical as that sounds.
That's true. Like, you don't have to worry about your opponent's big characters blocking you if they're already bad.
That's it. I mean, that does mean that they can't play their best card, which is Forged Edict, according to Tyler. But...
Yep.
But I still think that card is super, super good. And I think, do they have... No. So what do Lion get out of the next one? Oh, they get that Resurrection card. Again,
they get the Phoenix
is really good for Phoenix.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. No, I absolutely think that's really good. So, yeah, look, I think there is game there.
As you were saying that, right? Like, as you were sort of going, the Lion... don't get access to their favorite card or their best card because it's a Scorpion card. I was looking at the Nuremberg results, and their Lion just lose hard to Scorpion. It's like 62%.
Well, that's what's going to happen when a clan with low-statted characters with high glory go up against the clan that just dishonors everybody all the time.
No, man. Where's the evidence? It's never before happened in the history of the game.
Never. Not even a little.
Not even a little bit in the core set with Phoenix. Not a little bit. Not even close. Never.
Phoenix, not even once.
Never again.
Yeah, or Lion, rather, not even once is probably more accurate.
So I think you're kind of right about the Unicorn thing, because Nuremberg Day 1 and Day 2 had super high Unicorn representation. And Crane also had very high representation, but it was the Crane that get into the cut.
Well, but the Crane are just as good as they've always been, or better now.
They're better. They're way better.
Yeah, I mean, they've never had... I mean, I don't know what you run. I'm not sure if you do Policy Debate or Guest of Honor. Probably Guest of Honor, because, like, using Policy Debate...
No, Policy Debate. Yeah. It's a duel. Turns on your stronghold, turns on your cancels.
Actually, no, you know what? You're right. You'd Policy Debate for the new box with the new duel, I think, is going to tip Crane over the top. But I do think Unicorn could be the surprise. All of the big tournament... Correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the Gen Cons and Worlds thus far have been surprise victories at the end since day dot. It's always been the unexpected. So it was Lion, then it was
Lion, then Crane for Worlds.
Then Lion, then Crane, and who was Gen Con first? Or was that Anil with Dragon? And they were nothing back then?
Anil won last year, but the Kiku Matsuri was won by Crane over Scorpion.
And they've never been the radar guys, so that's 2 Crane. I mean, and they've not been hurt.
Is a little bit like I don't think you can tell too much from that, to be honest. But I agree with the World's victories, right? I think Lion. Actually, one guy called it. Murph, who's a player from Canada. I was talking to him at the event, and he called Lion, the Lion deck that was there. He called it a deck with clear air. So, like in the Swiss, it would kind of, the Swiss would knock out all of the weak kind of Lion players, and the Swiss would knock out all of the clans that were kind of strong against Lion, and then when Lion gets into the cut, all that's left is like clans that they're strong against. I hope I'm doing that justice. I think that's what he said.
Yeah,
and he sort of called it at World. He's like, yeah, this Lion deck could go far.
Yeah, I hope so. Like, it would be... I mean, it's an irrational thought, but Lion taking out this Gen Con would be hilarious and great.
Yeah, and you always want the underdog to... The undercat?
under cats. Anyway, that was a bit rando, don't mind me.
When you said it, I had like images of like a brand name, like Under Armour, but it's like Undercats. So there's like pictures of cats on your underwear. Thanks, buddy, for that. Thank you, thank you for giving that to me, and now I have given that to our audience.
To the world.
You're welcome.
Everybody.
You're welcome, dear listener.
Now it's on the internet forever. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I hope so. So look, my realistic hope is that Unicorn take it out. I would love to see, from the place Unicorn were at, I'd love to see them unexpectedly upset and take everything out, which I think they could do because of the new pack, like all the Bushi cards that are backing them up now. Mm-hmm. Like Perfect Cut and stuff. I think they could maybe pull that off. I think that'd be great. I think you will see plenty of Phoenix being played, and you'll see plenty of Crane, Scorpion, Phoenix in the cut.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely playing Phoenix. I mean, that was decided basically before I was born, so it was just the way things were going to go.
It was always going to roll out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a bearded baby. You call him Merlin.
That's right. I have never been shaved in my life. Never.
Born with a beard. Oh, fuck. I don't know.
My beard is not doing well in the weather over here. Let me tell you, it takes a lot of grooming to stay normal.
Don't you have the length though, where you can get one of those metal clasps like they have in Lord of the Rings, like the dwarves have, that they hold their beer in like a gnarly plait?
It has been a goal of mine, a dream. One day I shall have one of those. I don't even know what you call them. I saw some guy on the internet make them out of bullets. I want like a bullet braid, but no, I don't have the length for that.
Aw, disappointment. That's all right. I believe in you. What about, is it big enough? Can you have like multiple bullet braids? Can you have like a bullet array? Can you have a bullet belt for a beard? Can you have a string?
I'm trying to think of like what I could do, like accessories that I could have in my beard for like the game. Like I could have fate tokens, I'll just get 2 extra fate out of my beard.
Get yourself, I'm not sure what the biker gang equivalent is over in Hong Kong, but find the equivalent, find out where they get their haircut, go there and just say, adorn my beard. just close your eyes.
Make me one of you.
Yeah, and like they'll knock you out, you wake up. Yeah, just maybe get like, is there such a thing as a beard tattoo? Can you like get it branded?
You've got me thinking now. I'm on a creative wave.
Yeah.
Anil, if you're listening, or Maddie, luxury playstyle guy, I need like beard braids with like luxury playstyle tokens and stuff.
Phoenix Clan beard braids.
A dispensing device of some description. That's what I need. That's my thing when I go to Gen
When
Con.
you said dispensing device, I straight away went to Pez. I think clan themes Pez dispensers would be a seller.
I was close to that. I was like, the change dispensers that bus drivers and stuff used to have, or the conductors on trams. So you would give them a note, and then they would like get all the change out of their little coin dispensing machine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a winner. You could do that.
That's right. I think we're on another tangent. We're like Tangent City this week.
Well, we're talking about clan themed ones, so we're not completely off topic. But we've spiraled again.
Which clan are the Vikings of Five Rings? Is it the crab, or is it the mantis?
No, it's the unicorn.
Is the unicorn? Aren't they?
Yeah,
they're the.
No, there are the Eastern. Right, all of the Eastern themed and
Mongols.
inspired clans, and then the unicorn are the Mongols plus rest of the world. Because they've just, I mean, they do exist. yeah, they do. They just collect everybody else's shit. So
steal. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what they do. They what's the word? Not attribute. They fucking appropriate everybody else's stuff. They're just as racist apparently as everyone else in Rokugan, but they do the appropriation as their clan theme, as opposed to just straight up racism as like everybody else in Rokugan.
Honestly, like Mantis are going to be that, right? If there was a clan that had like theft as their theme, like they call it commerce, they call it trading, but it's not. It never is. It's theft.
Maybe.
I don't have a bugbear against Mantis. I swear.
I quite enjoy Mantis. I think they're a neat clan, and I don't know. I think I came along too late in L5R in the original game to understand the roots of the Mantis clan. I thought they were like just an alliance of little clans that came together and under this one guy who was like a scion of a god or whatever, and was so willful that he became a great clan or became a kami, stuff like that. He ascended, right? Eventually. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But I didn't really catch the whole scumbag pirate biker gang kind of gig he's got going on now. And I quite like it. I think it's good. I like that he's like, no, I'm a dirtbag, but I'm still super strong. And
I think he was always a dirtbag.
Well, yeah, but he was a dirtbag that could shoot lightning from his hands. Like
was he?
Like
I thought he was just like, you know what? This is just going to be a whole bunch of like me not knowing anything about the origins of the Mantis clan, so I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, they were just. I mean, to me, also they were always the Archer clan. Like they were always the guys that did the Archie stuff. Yep. And
Yep. Stop. You're gonna trigger me, and I'm gonna fucking leave. We need to stop.
Okay. All right. Triggered. the beard is twitching. It's time to abort and move on.
Damn right. I'm taking my beard. I'm going home. I'm already home. Shit.
Damn it.
I have a question. For you.
I may or may not have an answer. It depends on the question.
All right. We've kind of gone into the topic a little bit anyway, but Gen Con and Krakow have the first 2 inheritance packs legal. What do you think is the best deck for each clan for those events? Asks Barry Shep.
Fuck. All right. Well, I'll let you start with. Oh, okay. Look, I'll start with Scorpion.
We'll do one each, right? You do one, I'll do one.
Yep. Look, I honestly think Keeper of Air, City of the Open Hand is still strongest for Scorpion. I think you don't necessarily build hard dishonor, but you allow yourself to dishonor. I think they're basically the only clan that has a reliable switch, and I think that's most of their strength this time.
Is there a particular card in these packs that like makes you say that?
No, it's the switch to Keeper of Air. Hands down. Like allowing Scorpion to run like Mark of Shame along with Backhanded Compliment, and run all their other gear, as well as run like Fertile Fields plus Secret Cache for card draw, out of Seeker of Air. Oh, not Seeker of Air, sorry. They can't do that, but Yeah, out of Keeper. So be able to run like Secret Cache, lets them make up the card draw with the search. I just think they've got the tools. I think Keeper of Air lets Scorpion switch. And if you play Keeper of Air as Scorpion, and you've got those cards in your hand, your opponent, even if they scout you, which they will, because you have open deck lists towards the end, right, won't really know what your game plan is. So you can basically conquest the whole game, and when everything gets hairy, you can just drop all the dishonor and take a victory. No one else gets to do that.
Cool.
Is the short of it. So that's where I think Scorpion's. I think Keeper of Air, open hand for Scorpion, because open hand is 2 utility. And Kyuden Miyoshi is great, don't get me wrong, it's my favourite. I just, I think open hand has got more legs as far as victory goes.
Okay. Well, I'll go Phoenix, Kyuden Asawa, Lion Splash, with Spirit Callers, because fuck, it's so much fun. Oh my god, it's so much fun. Is it the best deck? I think it's yet to be seen. I think it's the best deck. That's the deck I'm taking to Gen Con. But it's definitely not as, stable, like consistent. It's not as consistent as your KI Dragon Splash deck, but it has high highs, So it will crush opponents when it's rolling high. It's going to be awesome. That, I think, is actually a deck that's going to come out of this event, and it's going to really change the game.
Yeah? Why? Like, what? Why does that make such a big difference?
So I think, I can't remember who said it, but there was like the difference between European players and North American players. And that's not to say that I'm pigeonholing all players in those groups into one of these categories, but it seems to be that...
Don't half-ass it, mate. Pigeonhole someone.
Just go all the way? All right.
Just fucking
all European players, bar none, are like toolbox players, right? They play, wide ranges of cards that in certain situations give them lots of really big advantage. All right? And then all American players, bar none, are hyper efficient players. Every single card in their deck does the thing that it's designed to do the most economic way that is possible. It's plays let go because letting attachments go should cost basically nothing. The Ancestral Shrine person means you can get the favor all of the time using only one face, Things like that. Now, why do I think that the the Lion Splash thing is going to win? Because whenever European players tend to mingle with North American players, and I'm not saying that, actually I am, right?
Yeah, say it.
European players come over to North American tournaments and they kill it all the damn time, apparently, right? The 2 world champions are from Europe.
Yep.
And I think those events have significant representation from all around the world. So I think I've already committed to the cards that give you heaps of advantage in very specific situations. I think is going to be a stronger style. That's what I think.
Yeah. Okay. So just the unexpected, you think? Because obviously the dominant meta at Gen Con is the American meta, because you're going to have a way higher attendance of American players.
Yeah, which is why I don't necessarily think that a European is going to win Gen Con. But I think after Gen Con, I think the deck that is going to that's going to surprise people, like the Unicorn Keeper of Void Phoenix Splash deck that came out of Gen Con last year, everybody was like, wow, that's an interesting thing that we didn't really think of. I think this Phoenix Lion Splash deck is going to be a thing that comes out of Gen Con where people are going to go, no, we definitely did think of that, but we didn't think it was going to be that good. That's what I think.
Yeah, okay. So they sort of knew it was there, but certainly didn't think it was going to be...
Like, who didn't look at the Echoes card and go, well, that just goes straight into a Phoenix deck, Nobody looked at that card and went, I wonder how this is going to do in a Dragon deck,
Yeah.
No,
okay.
or a Crane dueling deck. No. The first thing people said was, oh, Shay said it on the last episode of the Jade Throne. He said, "Well, I guess Phoenix gets Spirit Callers now." I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah.
How great is that? They've got a Fuchicho and they've got Spirit Callers. Oh, I just love it.
Nah, I do. I like that, but yeah, okay.
I think I'm wrong.
No,
lots of people think I'm wrong. It's okay.
Well, yeah.
I've been playing this. I said I was going to keep quiet about this deck. Clearly, I'm not going to keep quiet about this deck. I've been playing this deck in my local meta and against a couple of people online, and it's surprisingly good to play.
Why? What's your clutch?
So I think there's actually a large amount of good synergies with the deck. So obviously you're going to play Satoshi to dump your entire Dynasty deck into your discard pile, and you're going to be playing 3 of them so that you can get it out as early as possible. And you're going to be playing Walking the Way so that you can get that and or Fushicho as early as possible. And then once you've got those into your discard pile, you're bidding 5, so you're drawing a lot of your conflict deck. And with 6 good first turn cards being My Ancestor's Strength and Forebearer's Echoes, I think is what it's called, and which basically means on turn 1, you could initiate a conflict with, say, Satoshi, who's just dumped a Fushicho into the bin. You play Echoes, you get back out your Satoshi. That's like 8 strength on the table right there. I don't know how much fate you've put into this, being your first turn. But let's put that aside. Don't think about it too much.
Up to
You've done
8
that.
maximum.
You've done that. And you break the province, which is great. And then Fushicho goes back under the deck. And then you get out, I don't know, another really good character. Let's say Kotei, right? Now Kotei's on the table with a fate on her. She can't be bound by the Ring of Water because she's immune to ring effects. The fate can't come off of her. All these good things. You attack in with another ring, a void, and whatever ring you happen to choose. It's just
The tricks
those kinds of things. Okay, then it comes home. Next turn. Most of the time when you're buying the Dynasty, you're buying like the really cheap stuff, right? So you buy the cheap stuff. You actually bank quite a lot of fate in this deck. And then maybe you've got like a conflict Tadaka. Oh, you've just dumped like 30 characters, not 30, you've dumped 10 characters into your Dynasty discard pile. I think I'll just look at 5 cards out of your hand, please, and then discard the best one that I find. It's really good. It's really good.
It is fun, and I like anything that has options like that. Like Satoshi, most of them are Satoshi decks, right? Where he mills all the stuff, and you've got some mechanism that lets you draw back on that.
And then you got your keepers, or you got your Kanjo districts. 2 turns of Satoshi is basically guaranteed Kanjo districts. I can't tell you how many games I haven't had Kanjo districts.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. Actually, speaking of ridiculous turning over cards decks, at Gen Con, do you want to speculate as to whether or not anything gets done about the infinite crab loot prior to that competition?
Yes, but also let's finish answering the question. So let's talk about crab deck. What's the best crab deck? Is it post Spyglass Crabicorn, or is it to infinity and beyond?
So the best deck is Infinity and Beyond, because that's amazing, that combo. But as far as the most successful deck goes, it's going to be post Spyglass. Like, I don't know. Like, I say this about every single controversy that pops up, but I don't get the big deal about Spyglass. It's like, okay, great. Like, it's a great card, but it's not like there's no other great options in Unicorn decks, right? Like, there's so much other shit in there you can take.
Well, the Barcha, that's pretty good. That, like, I was playing against that for the first time out of a Unicorn deck, and it was terrifying. And I thought to myself, man, if this was in a crab deck, it's like I'm gonna.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look. Sorry to clarify. Before we even get there, crab, unicorn, and dragon, keeper of water is their best deck, their best role for all of them. because Phyton is a beast.
Because the Phyton, yep. Phyton
is absolute fucking monster.
Yep,
like, that thing is absurdity. It really does. And
so
I thought...
cancel
I think,
Phyton.
yeah, Crab's longevity is crazy, man. Like, they're gonna keep it. Crab will still do fine. They're just not going to be ridiculous.
Okay, so to infinity and beyond then.
I think their most successful deck will be default Crab. It will be solid bodies, lots of straighten, and just outlast your opponent, like Spyglass aside.
Yeah. So I built the infinite loop deck, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet. But like looking at the cards that are in there, there is. So here's another thing about the Phoenix deck, but it also applies to the Crab Loopy deck. So you remember that one of the things that people are saying, well, you can shut the combo down by playing Cloud or something like that, right? Not saying it's going to happen every time, but one of the very interesting things about the Mado part of the infinite loop is that you get to buy the guy back. So if your guy got clouded and you've got a way to sacrifice him,
yep,
then do that, and then all of a sudden he's not clouded, and then buy him back.
Yeah,
you know.
But I mean, you only have to. If you're thinking about clouding the little guy, like, that's one thing, but really, you'd want to cloud Taka, or you'd want to cloud the broker. So
sure.
Buying back a 4-coster is less likely.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not. So you got to think of, like, what are the answers to all of these decks? Well, in the infinite loop combo, you got to break the loop somehow, and one of the ways you break the loop is Cloud. And I don't think that people have quite thought all the way through, because one of the things I found with the Phoenix deck was people would do stuff to my guys, right? And then, like, cloud them, like Cloud Kotei or something, and then they would just die and come back, and you're like, that's brilliant. Now they're not clouded. It's actually very strong, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Won't lie. I approve.
Okay.
I think
we agree Loopy deck probably not going to be... It's probably going to do well. Like, you know, maybe go 50-50, 3-3.
Well, the thing is, like, the only thing you need to include that Crab don't include otherwise is all of it.
But there's definitely like, a lot of stuff that you don't normally include.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get plenty of value out of brokers still, and you don't even need that many. Like, if you're milling with Satoshi, right? Like, you've got them all in there, and if you've just banked enough fate, then the odds of pulling it off are not small. Because as soon as they run into Mado, you can play the broker, you can play Yasuki Taka, you can play everything else because you've ground it all out with Satoshi. And everything else in your hand just comes as a result of that combo.
Yeah, and I should imagine that keeping Mado alive until you've got all your setups is actually easier than you might think, because you can use Talisman to move people away from Mado if they happen to attack it. And then you move people toward Mado when you're ready to, start the strangle.
Yep. And if there's one thing Crab are good at, it's tomato.
True. It is true.
That is their key strength, is moving people to tomato.
I literally have no response to that pun.
And other salads.
Yep.
I think are really exciting.
Is it really hot and like late at night where you are?
No.
There are no excuses.
This is my default state, and I've come to terms with that. I'm okay.
So I have a question about Crane.
Oh yeah.
What's the Crane deck? Go on. Just go on.
Yeah, I think it's Void. I think that's the only thing that's going to hurt Crane is the lack of an air roll. If they were still on air roll, I think they'd drive this home big time.
When they, like, somebody's going to go top clan as Crane at Worlds, and they're just going to go straight for Seeker of Air if it hasn't already been picked.
Maybe even Keeper, to be honest. I'm not.
You reckon?
Maybe. I don't think it matters. I think that the key part there is air.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think it's Crane, new box, right? Cute and Kakita, Seeker of Void with Duel to the Death, because God, if Crane aren't good at winning duels.
Well, it's only because they tower, right? Like, anyone can do that. Crane just... They're not good at winning duels. They're not any better at winning duels than anyone else. They just have way more dueling. No,
I disagree. I think they've got way more opportunities to set up duels and initiate duels than other people, which means they have more opportunity to activate their box. And I think that when they activate their box, their guys... Like, Crane have tons of honored guys, which is kind of their standout thing. Which is, if it's like attaching another weapon. It's like if you've got a guy with 2 weapons, the person that's got 3 weapons, because they've got an honor token, is going to win. I reckon Crane are much better at winning duels.
Yeah, no, okay, I don't disagree. They have a lot more dueling things, and they've just got big guys. But I don't know. That's how you fight them, though. Like if you're running, you know you're going to hit a Toshimoko. You just send in your giant military guy and you put 2 fucking curved blades on what's the dude's name that doesn't bow? The fucking dude out of Unicorn?
The dude's name that doesn't bow.
You know, Chags. That's him.
It's good to know that we're
Chagatai
strengths not being able to name characters.
Like if you've got if you're attacking, you got 2 curved blades on Chagatai, like Toshimoko is going to have a rough time getting up there. Like 12 is rough, right? So I guess what I'm saying is that Crane aren't they don't have an easier time of winning duels. Certainly they've got a lot more duel effects and things around duels, but nothing that gives them a duel-based bump.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
2 left. Lion or dragon? Pick one.
Ugh. Dragon.
Dragon? So who's top dragon?
Dragon is going to be a Dragon Bushi Duelist deck.
Keeper Water?
Yes. Yeah, it'll be Keeper Water, it'll be Splashing Crab, it will be running Reprieves. It will be the old Dragon deck, but they will have just a ton of jewels and jewel holdings and stuff in there as well.
To bleed honor from you?
Yeah, it's just an amazing switch for the whole game. Basically, all the jewels that you can already do, which means you can already tower up, which is already what Dragon want to do. It's extra attachments, which is already in Dragon's wheelhouse. And it just lets them pile everything on, and every effect they play lets them leech 1 honor from their opponent. And even if it's not about closing the game out, which it does let them do, so like with Scorpion, it's not quite as effective, but it is still very good. You can run those cards together to just give you this enormous honor and therefore card advantage as you go into the later game, and that will be good. It's not going to destroy anything. I think it'll be the sort of... It's got a similar vibe to Crab's Infinite Wheel combo. Mm-hmm. Where, like, if all the pieces align, you're going to take it out a few times, but it won't have the consistency to take out the tournament and maybe even make the top cut.
Do you think that Dragon are going to be playing that new attachment, the one that gives them covert, if they've got 2 weapons?
No.
You don't think so?
Nah. Nah. Like,
you don't think they'd switch to, like, Niten Master and Crab Splash with the... Well, actually, no, just switch to Niten Master and just do all the things with weapons.
No, I don't. I mean, Covert's okay. Like, it's good. But you're paying a fate for just a +1 bump when you could have that same slot taken by a way more effective card. And you've got to get 2 specifically weapon cards on there as well. And there just aren't enough cheap weapons out there. Mm-hmm. To all bundle together, and all your opponent has to do is attachment hate 1 of those weapons, and he shut off 2 of your attachments. Like, it's too much, I think, for a top run deck. I think there are a few too many moving pieces in there, and the card could too easily be semi-dead. I mean, it'll still give you its bump. I think it's +1 military from memory. But actually, I've got it right in front of me, and it can only go on Bushi. You can't even use it on fucking monks and stuff. So. Yeah.
Well, typically you do run Bushi and they just kind of become monks because you seal them into being a monk.
Yeah, so at that point, you're talking about, for your average monk to be able to use this card, you need 4 attachments on it, right? So It's probably not practical.
Mm.
You've got to run the seal and then the technique and then find 2 weapons to attach. Like it's not enough there. If it was free, maybe, but it's not. So no.
Fair. Okay, I have. Let's segue into the last question. So the last question.
You completely dodged having to answer Lion Clan.
No. No. You didn't let me finish. You gotta let me finish, man. I said as we segue into the last question, we can talk about the Lion Clan. Okay.
Fine,
because
fine,
I think
fine.
because you answered for the Dragon Clan. I think for the Lion Clan, we're going to have the Crane Splash deck with all the voice of honors and honoring yourself with
Secret of Air.
Secret of Air, right? So you can have like Soul Beyond Reproaches and the Perfect Cut, things like that.
Perfect Cut's really good, but also just the bridge throwing I think is super handy for Lions since all their people have no value.
Correct.
The best case scenario for a Lion Clan person is to sacrifice it to destroy an opponent's person.
Yep.
It's the best you're gonna get.
Yep.
But no, look, I'm not necessarily sure that's where Lion are gonna get all their play. I think Yojin no Shiro out of Keeper of Earth might be a thing because I think you'll see some Earth becomes Sky Splash with a few little shugs because that card is super potent and they are the only ones that can use it at the moment. I think that might have legs. It'll be hard going. Like, because you think about that splash, you can run Earth Becomes Sky, you could run Against the Waves, and maybe, not Clarity, but like Display of Power to round that out. Like,
it does kind of make them Unicorn-esque in a little way. Like, Unicorn used to run Phoenix Splash.
Lion have always been the shitty, angry little brother of Unicorn, though. Like
the Unicorn.
They have. They have. You just compare the HMTs, right? Lion get HMT and they're like, oh yeah, we can do 3 conflicts. That's pretty amazing. People were buzzing about it. Then Unicorn said, oh yeah, hold my beer. And they got HMT, but fucking it's actually usable, right? You can do way more with it. You don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. You have to spread your eggs out and put them in multiple baskets to be able to use it properly.
I guess you could go Phoenix Splash and get like Purity of Spirit or something like that, but I don't think that Lion actually have the glory to make Purity of Spirit really good. It's basically just a +2, kind of at best.
Now you got to keep in mind as well that like so many Alliance people are 2 glory, right? And their stats at a base aren't massive. So Purity of Spirit, I think, would let them not only give them a free, mind you, +2 bump in honor for a conflict.
I suppose.
In political as well, yes, that's valid. But it also gets rid of all the dishonor tokens that would otherwise be sticking around forever. So if you're already dishonored in a conflict, which hurts Lion quite a bit for a lot of their bigger people, you drop that on it, it strips away the dishonor, and if your opponent goes as far as dishonoring you again, then it's gone. Like you functionally almost get rid of 2 dishonor tokens or stop your opponent gaining as much value out of that. I think there is legs in Lion for Earth Becomes Sky, Against the Waves, and Purity of Spirit. I think that's a super cool splash. I think I'm making that now. I think that's happening.
The seed has been planted.
Yeah, well, Lion Shigenja are really good, right? Like,
yeah, they're okay. I mean, Spirit Call is clearly the best, right?
Yeah, but like the others, I don't mind. Oh, they've got the little guy that doesn't bow when he loses, fitting in Lion's theme of losing, which is really good. Purity of Spirit, and they're all just ones. Like Seeker of, you can do plenty with that. Okay. That's what I think, anyway.
You very well may have a point, and we don't really have that long to wait to find out. But the reason that I sort of thought about sort of segueing these together is because of the Crane Splash, and I wondered what you could do with a new name out of Lion, because most of their guys are Bushi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that Lion used to do kind of well was they were able to run courtiers in amongst their Bushi, so you could play things like For Shame and stuff like that.
Forged Edict,
or Forged Edict. I can't. Can't remember it. It was on the tip of my tongue just a second ago.
What did you do? Just the Scorpion one, right? Where you dishonor your person and cancel an event.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's Lion's best card. Said so in the post from SFG, mate.
That's right. The designer said so.
That's right.
So the question is, what's your favorite card to combo with a new name? So giving someone Courtier and Bushi, what's the best thing? What's your favorite thing to do with that?
Oh, I don't even know, man. Like, are we going clan by clan or all of them? Like, I really like Chikai.
Just one.
I love Chikai Order Protector. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah, I think that's just a super wicked splash. But otherwise,
Here's one. So Matsu 7th Legion. That card is shit, right?
Yeah.
What if you attach a new name to one of your opponent's characters? Let's say, I don't know, Kasada. Matsu 7th Legion then says, while this character is attacking, each courtier character cannot be declared as a defender. Boom! Take that, Kasada.
Yeah, I suppose it's like a super covert.
Yep. It's like a what do you call it? 2-cost Phoenix card that we can't remember the name of. Pacifism. Boom. It's like pacifism.
Yeah, like a junior pacifism. Like
pacifism light.
Yeah, pacifism light, and it's sort of is it can't participate or can't assign?
Cannot assign.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's more like a covert effect.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. You just
and it also gives your opponent +1/+1. So let's just hope they can't move into the conflict with, say,
Fight on.
Yeah. I was trying to think of the water card.
Fight on, or it's not like Crab have any holdings they can dig for that move you back into a conflict.
Right. That's right. Or cards that they have zero ways of getting back into conflicts.
Absolutely. No, look.
What about playing a perfect cut on some of your courtiers?
Courtiers don't lack for honor effects.
Don't they?
No, like a lot of, like, it's sort of their wheelhouse, right? The political scene is where a lot of the honoring takes place.
Perfect cut is +2 military in a military conflict. So you can have your courtiers attack military, and then bam, give them a new name, and then bam, suddenly they get +2 military, and then bam, they get like honored status. How good is that? Because maybe it's the one. No, maybe it's the one that says when it gets honored, you can honor another one of your characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's even nicer on just like a Shugger or a Monk or something to give them both 2 extra keywords is super neat. So you can run for shame in all kinds of stuff. It's void only, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So if you can run that, like Crane and Lion and Dragon, I think I've still got a void roll.
I'm sort of breaking my own rules here because I think I've named like 4 cards so forth. But what about a Time for War? Seeker roll only. I'm just looking at like Bushi Builder. If you lose a political conflict, choose a Bushi character you control, put a weapon with printed cost 3 or lower into play from your hand or the conflict discard pile attached to that character. So you're attacking in a political conflict with a a courtier. Then you give it the Bushi trait by putting your name on it. No, that doesn't work because Lion Clan, do they have a Seeker roll? I don't think they have a Seeker roll. Are they Seeker Void?
Yeah, Seeker Void.
Oh, okay, so it does work.
No. Lion are Seeker. Hang on, I'll be telling you. I'm pretty sure they're like Seeker of Air at the moment. Keeper of Earth and Seeker of Air. Yeah. I
kind of like this idea. Do you know who asked this question? This was from the Shogun himself, Eric Ballas. So, I just like this idea of having courtiers attack and then pretending that they're Bushi, right? By getting weapons attached to them or getting +2 and then honored, things that normally the Bushi do. I like this idea.
Yeah,
okay,
I like it.
Last question to round out the night.
Okay.
All right, let me find it because it was asked in a strange place. Like the back of a Volkswagen. Oh. Who's going to win the Sydney Kotei, and will it feel like half Scorpion again? So I guess
Like
will the
half
Sydney
again?
Kotei will will the Sydney Kotei feel like it's half full of scorpions? And who's going to win the Sydney Kotei?
Oh, right.
Let's
Yes,
end
it
with
will
one,
feel like half scorpions.
You can name a player and or a clan.
Oh, see,
So
I
if
don't
you think
know.
I'm going to
'cause-
win Sydney, you can say it. It's okay. I won't. Yeah, I won't let it go to my head.
So, for context, I didn't do that great in Oz Discord, and I beat you. So, so I'm not convinced. That aside, who's gonna win? You know what? I'm gonna back Abitan. I'm gonna back
one of your
dark.
locals, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Is that
back
because you don't know
Aaron.
anyone outside of Perth?
There are people outside of Perth. No, I do. No, look, I
Way
think.
outside of Perth, yes.
Look, I think statistically, the numbers are with him. He's done very well over here. I think he's the most consistent winner. And we have a pretty good play group with some pretty strong players that keep him sharp. And he's consistently done well in all of the leagues he's entered online as well. And he's from a little Perth pocket meta, so he's not necessarily going to play the same as everybody else that's going to make the cut. I wouldn't be surprised if you have a few Perth bodies in the cut, to be honest. There's some pretty strong players over here.
Yeah.
So I think... But yeah, no, look, I would not be at all surprised if Aaron took it out. So that's my hot take. That's what I reckon.
Yep. So by inference, then you reckon Unicorn's going to win the tournament?
One can only hope.
I think it's going to be. I honestly don't know which player is going to take it out. But I feel like in Australia, I feel like Crab are the dark horse in Australia, right? So Crab. There probably aren't that many Crab players out there, so I think that the amount of practice against Crab is kind of low. And I think that in Australia, I mean, just Crab in general, of course, have got very strong characters. So you pair that with a player who's reasonably strong, I think they're gonna take that. And I think that that's gonna win out against Unicorn because I feel like Unicorn just kind of run out of steam.
Well, that's the thing, though. But I think a lot of people have gone off Crab. I don't think Crab are going to have a massive showing. I think they're really wounded by the recent luck of Spyglass. I think that's going to turn a lot of people off Crab. I think Crab, despite Spyglass, still have plenty of legs. I think they're still almost as good as they were with Spyglass. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. No one card can define your deck to that degree, right? People take Tadaka out of Phoenix, for example, and Kisitoshi still kind of makes up the difference.
Kisitoshi was always a strong card. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but as I said, I think a lot of Crab players are bitter and salty about the lack of Spyglass, and so probably aren't going to take it. So even if Crab are a terrible matchup, I don't think you're going to see tons of them. Scorpion, I feel, are a very good matchup for Unicorn. I think Scorpion have a relatively weak early game, and Unicorn are able to finish the game in that early phase before Scorpion get their massive build and get all their dishonor on, right? I think
Scorpion went kind of 50-50 against Unicorn at Nuremberg.
Yeah, okay. That's my vibe. So,
well, you heard it here first. We'll come back after the Kotei and find out who was right and who was wrong. And when I win it, I'm going to be rubbing it in your face. That's what I'm going to do.
No, good. I'd be happy to have your bristles all up over my face.
I can't wait to massage
Awkward.
you with my bristles. My most bushy of mustaches.
This got awkward fast.
Well, that sounds like the perfect place to call it a night. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. All right. Cheers.
Same time, maybe next week, maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, no, we'll do our best.
All right.
Perth's EC this weekend, 20th of July.
Be there
Very
or be
exciting.
square.
Good games. That's right.
Yep.
Don't be square.
Don't be square. You get a Worlds
right.
invite. If you go and you win, you have to go to Worlds. I'll see you
It's mandatory. All right. Catch you later.
Yep.